Hi, my name is Ellie Sutton.
And I'm Lillian Clark. Today we're going to talk about the article Toward Collaborative Partnerships, Lessons from Parents and Teachers of Emergent Bi or Multilingual Students by Alisa Blair and Mari Aneda.
And we will start off with the summary portion. So something really interesting about this article that it pointed out was that there's many schools that just demand that parental involvement more as a way to check a box or to fulfill a new requirement from the school's end. Yet this article rejects those notions and proposes a way in which schools can create a two-way partnership that fulfill both ends' needs, because a lot of the times it's more so just the school wanting the parents need to come at this time, blah, 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 like all these requirements versus the parents who they also have a lot going on in their lives and they don't really get a say in that. So yeah, one such example is making sure that parents' involvement is more customizable for the parents, such as having meetings with open-ended questions. This allows parents to really be able to express their thoughts and help them know that their inputs and thoughts are valued. Another way is to allow the parents to pick the locations for the meetings. Um, that way, if they feel more comfortable in their house or if they feel more comfortable in a public setting, maybe they might feel more comfortable in a restaurant or things like that, rather than just the 8 to, or even sometimes it's just 3 to 5 for parent-teacher conferences in the school, which a lot of the times is right in between um, crucial working hours that is really hard for people to get off because they might be closing stores or it might be in the middle of a shift. Um, and then another such way is to make note of a parent's preferred way of communication. Um, this might be done with a translator or um, yeah, or just allowing opportunities for them to really express and talk using their way of communication. So this article also talked a lot about a parent improvement empowerment group that consists of parents of colors and teachers and administrators in the school, and just making sure that they really were willing to listen to the parents. They were able to reduce a lot of common barriers, um, such as providing transportation, childcare, and food, so that it made took that burden off the parents' back and made life just so much easier to them.
Yes. And so just kind of like what she was saying, traditionally we have prioritized the school's needs instead of the parents' needs. So this article kind of focused on different ideas that a couple of different schools have been implementing to improve that and make a change in that situation. So one thing that they did was really strong parent empowering groups that focused on helping parents to feel empowered and involved in the education and I guess just valued by the school. But the article did suggest that these groups haven't really involved teachers. So it's just like only focused on the parents and it didn't really involve the teachers and helping the teachers to know what they can do to help the parents, which was an interesting thing. Also really strong ESL programs with really good teachers who are passionate about making strong relationships with the parents and helping them to feel supported by the school. So I think it's just really, really important that we can have good, strong communication between the teachers and the parents, so that like if any difficulties arise, if there's a change in our students' behavior or academic performance or just mood, that as teachers we can talk to the parents about it and from all different directions we can help to address those needs that our students have. And the parents can feel like they're not being antagonized against. We're not going to them to say like you need to do this, this, and this, and this to their children, but they can feel like we're there as a support to help them. And this can be strengthened through home visits and constant communication, even if it's just like a text, like you were talking about. So yeah, having home visits can help us to learn more about our students and their families and what perspectives and places they're coming from in life, because oftentimes it's different than us as teachers. Um, yeah, so like individual teachers and ESL teachers and all the efforts that we make in our classrooms can make a big difference. But if we want to have like a big institutional change, it's really important that we get administrators and I guess programs involved as well so that it can be seen more widespreadly as well. And that's really important.
I love that. Yeah. Okay, we will now move on to the praxis portion. So I really love this idea of making the school parent collaboration as easy for the parents as possible. There are many things that are done out of tradition, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, just um, making sure that parents um, or a lot of the parent-teacher conferences are at that specific time. That is very challenging for them. But we need to make sure that we as teachers are willing to change and be flexible so that parents are able to be seen and heard, feel seen and and are heard. Um, because when there's a good relationship between parents and schools, that's when we can truly help our children learn and soar and grow, and we can really work together as a team. I think a lot of the times it feels one-sided where the parents feel like they're doing their part of teaching the morals and teaching the values back at home, and teachers feel like, oh, we're the only ones working on their education, when truly there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Both are working on both sides for morals and values as well as education. Um, but there's just not, sometimes there's that miscommunication, so there isn't, no one really understands what the other person is doing. So I want to be able to do that by having open communication with my parents, and just being willing to be flexible and change. Um, I also want to apply the idea of just specifically having those meetings with the parents when it works for them. Not necessarily in the middle of the school day when my parents have work and things that they can't take off, but when they're able to do so, and making it as comfortable and easy as possible, and as, yeah, comfortable and easy for them as possible.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And I guess what I took away from this article is that I want to be part of the change. I want to advocate for families. And when I hear people talking about families in like a deficit matter and saying, oh, it's because that culture doesn't value education as much, or, things like that. I want to be an advocate and kind of stand up and say, hey, that's not true. That's not how it actually is. And I want to, in my school and in the community that I will be working in the future, I want to make sure that I am making proactive steps and actions to help us to overcome that deficit thinking and strengthen our relationships with families, so that we can have a positive school, family, and school community relationship, because that is so important to our children, and we're all trying to help the children of our community. So we should be working together on the same team, really. Yeah, so I think it's just so important that we don't think that way of the students' parents, but also of the students are themselves. I want to make sure that all of my students know that I believe in them, that I can see their strengths, and that I know that they are so capable of going to college, of being successful, of having wonderful families and being happy. And yeah, I just want them to know that I, as their teacher, am there to support them and not to be like a barrier in their way. I want to make sure that they know that I love them and that I want to help them in whatever way possible.
I love that. Okay, we will now move on to the reflection portion. So overall, I really like this article. I love that it provides problems, but also provide a lot of solutions to the problems. I feel like it showed that there are many doable things that a teacher or school could implement in their classroom so that their students could succeed. And the homeschool relationship among families of color is something that's always been a struggle, so I like that they were providing these solutions. Um, I thought that it was really interesting how they also highlighted that um, that teachers don't feel supported as well. And so I think it's just important to continually work on that relationship to see what areas we can improve and what we can do to improve.
Yes, I also like this article. And I agree. It's really important to think about how we can improve and how we can support our communities and I guess make a positive impact on the way that we're working together. Um, and I also think it was really interesting to see how um, other schools have done this, like what we can do in practice to make it work and to achieve those goals, and the different programs that they had and the different supports that they had to help them as schools, as teachers, and families. So I think it was really interesting to generate kind of those ideas through the example of other schools who have made this a priority in their communities, because really that is an example, and it can help us as we go forward to change and adapt those ideas in the ways that they did it in our own communities, and help our own parents, because I think that not every community is important, but we can still learn so much from other people and the way that they've been thinking about these problems, and how, and the success and failures that they've seen in their, I guess, efforts to make a change.